I shall now turn to indirect taxes. In a slight departure from the previous years, I shall begin with service tax. At the end of June this year, this service tax will attain adulthood by completing 18 years. It is therefore time to shift the gears and accelerate ahead. However, the service tax needs to confront two important challenges to sustain the journey. These are the share of services in the taxes remains far below its potential. There is a need to widen the tax base and strengthen its enforcement. Service tax law is complex and sometimes avoidably different from central excise. We need to bring the two as close as possible in the light of our eventual goal of transition to GST. I have attempted to address both these issues this year. Last year I had initiated a public debate on the desirability of moving towards taxation of services based on a negative list. In the debate that continued for the better part of the year, we received overwhelming support for this new concept. It has been perceived both as sound economics and prudent fiscal management. Thus, I propose to tax all services except those in the negative list. The list comprises 17 heads and has been carefully drawn up, keeping in view the federal nature of our polity, the best international practices, and our socio-economic requirements. The important inclusions in the negative list comprise all services provided by the government or local authorities, except a few specified services where they comply with the private sector. The list also includes preschool and school education, recognized education at higher schools, approved vocational education, renting of residential dwellings, entertainment and amusement services, large part of the public transportation, including inland waterways, urban railways, and metered cabs. Agriculture and animal husbandry enjoy a very important place in our lives. Practically all services required for cultivation, breeding, production, processing, marketing, up to the stage the produce is sold in the primary markets are covered by the list. In addition to the negative list, there is a list of exemptions, which include healthcare services provided by the charities, religious persons, sports persons, performing artists in folk and classical arts, individual advocates providing services to non-business entities, independent journalists, and services by way of animal care or car parking. To take financial services to the doorsteps in the rural areas, I have also exempted the services of the business facilitators and correspondents to the banks and insurance companies. Construction services relating to the specified infrastructure, canals, irrigation works, post-harvest infrastructure, residential dwellings, low-cost mass housing, up to an area of 60 square meters under the scheme of affordable housing in partnership is also included in the exemption. To make the life of those who already own an apartment a little easier, I propose to raise the exemption of the monthly charges payable by a member to the housing society from 3,000 to 5,000. The year 2012 marks the beginning of the centenary year of the Indian cinema. Despite the changes in the titles from Dadasaheb Phalke's Raja Harishchandra to Ra-1 in recent times, the industry has played a pivotal role in unifying our country in the wake of our considerable diversity. To add their spirit of celebration, I propose to exempt the industry from service tax on copyright relating to the recording of cinematographic films. Movement towards the negative list will result in reducing nearly 290 definitions and descriptions in the Act of 54 and the exemptions from the existing 88 to 10, of course merging some of the existing exemptions into a revised notification. In terms of number of pages, the law will be shorter by nearly 40%. As a measure of harmonizing between central excise and service tax, a number of alignments have been made. These include a common simplified registration form and a common return for the central excise and service tax, to be named EST1. This common return will comprise only one page, which will be a significant reduction from the 15 pages of the two returns at present. Revision, application authority, and settlement commissions are being introduced in the service tax to help resolve disputes with far greater ease. Cascading of the taxes has been significantly reduced by permitting utilization of the input tax credit in a number of services such as catering, restaurants, hotel accommodation, pandal and shamiana and transport sectors. Place of supply rules that will determine the location where the service shall be deemed to be provided are being placed in public domain for stakeholders. Comments and shall be notified with the negative list is put into effect. These rules will also provide a possible backdrop to initiate an informal debate to assess all issues that may arise in the taxation of the interstate service for the eventual launch of GST. I propose to set up a study team to examine the possibility of a common tax code for service tax and central excise, which could be adopted to harmonize the two legislations as much as possible at the right time. While the problems faced by the exporters of the goods with respect to taxes on the import services was addressed earlier this year, disbursement of taxes that go into the export of services has been an irritant for long. I now announce a new scheme that will simplify the refunds without resorting to voluminous documentation or verification. As an added incentive, such refunds will be admissible for taxes on taxable services that have been exempted. Rules pertaining to the point of taxation are also being rationalized, providing greater clarity and removing the irritants. VAT credits in a number of areas are being restored. There are a number of other proposals both for facilitation and business and to check malpractices. I do not wish to take the valuable time of this House discussing all these proposals. You will notice that most of these measures are guided by the need to move towards a system that is simple, equitable and progressive, but are unlikely to make the exchequer richer in any significant way. Looking at our vast commitments and to maintain a healthy fiscal situation, I propose to raise the service tax rate from 10% to 12%, with consequential changes in the rates for services that have individual tax rates. My proposal from service tax are expected to yield additional revenue of Rs 18,660 crores, keeping in mind that the share of services in GDP is 59%. You would agree that the proposed increase is not too harsh. Madam Speaker, I shall now deal with the proposals relating to the other indirect taxes. In the wake of the global financial crisis in 2008-9, the standard rate of excise duty to non-petroleum goods was reduced from 14% to 8% in a phased manner. This rate was raised from 8% to 10% in the budget of 2010-11. Given the imperative for the fiscal correction, I propose to now raise the standard rate from 10% to 12%, the merit rate from 5% to 6%, lower merit rate from 1% to 2%. However, the lower merit rate on coal, fertilizers, mobile phones, precious metals, jewellery is being retained at 1%. Large cars currently attract excise duty depending on their engine capacity and length. In keeping with the increase proposed in the standard rate, I propose to enhance the duty from 22% to 24%. In the case of cars that attract a mixed rate of duty of 22% plus 15,000 per vehicle, I propose to increase the duty and switch over to an ad valorem rate of 27%. No change is proposed in the peak rate of customs duty of 10% on non-agricultural goods, barring a few individual items. The rates below the peak rate is also being retained.